Okay, so Seagate, you're launching a solution, or you have launched a solution recently, which I think you described as a new inflection point in the storage industry. So I guess before we go into it, it'd be just good to understand how significant you think the launch of the Mosaic 3 Plus platform is. It'd be good to understand that.
Yeah, hey Philip, thank you for having me. It's great to have the opportunity to speak with you. Yes, we're very, very excited, and Mosaic 3, it's really not an overstatement when we say that it's an inflection point for the industry. So as you know, the disk drive technology has been around for more than 4 decades, right? And along the way, there's been incremental improvements in terms of performance, and improvement in terms of capacity increases and all that. Now, changes in recording technology is really an inflection point because it gives you a magnitude of, multiple increases in areal density. Disk drive technology is all about storage density, areal density, because it's about how much data you can actually provide to our customers, right? So if you actually increase the areal density, so you can actually provide customers with more capacity for them to store the data. Now, if you think about it, in the last 10 years, the growth of areal density has been hovering perhaps at about 10% plus or minus. With Mosaic 3, it actually doubles that. We're able to grow areal density at more than 20%, which really helps to address the growing and exploding demand in storage. Now, in addition to that, right, there's not just about this increase in storage demand that people are concerned with. There's also about cost. I mean, yeah, sure. Who wouldn't like to have more storage, but can you afford it, right? Secondly, right, it's about power and is there enough power out there to really drive all of the data centers that we need? And then thirdly, right, it's about sustainability as well, because as we spend more and more of the power to drive data centers, we leave behind a long trail of carbon emission, and we have to really take the responsibility to address and figure out how we reduce that as well. So Mosaic 3 addresses all of these issues and challenges.
Okay, it'd be good to look under the covers a little bit and go through some of the components, the technologies in that. Perhaps we can start with the fact that it uses heat-assisted magnetic recording. If you can just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So fundamentally, disk drive technology, it's really about magnetic particles, right? When we write, we alter the orientation of the magnetic particles, right? And then and then we read. When we read, right, we actually, it's a series of ones and zeros depending on how you orientate them. Now, as we increase capacity, think about it, Philip, as trying to pack more and more of these magnetic particles, or grains as we call them, closer and closer together, right? Now, at some point, right, the magnetic particles, when they get too close together, they become unstable. So the challenge for us is, how do we increase the coercivity of the material, of the media, such that we can actually put them together without them becoming unstable. So that's really where our technology in the media comes in, that really allows us to the platinum alloy, to allow us to really have the magnetic grains closer together, and therefore that's a secret sauce in a way of actually increasing areal density, packing more grains together. Now, then you lead to another challenge. How do you actually then write to it if if it's really, really super high coercivity media? Well, that's where the heat comes in. The laser in the writer comes into play. So the photonic writer would shoot a tiny laser beam into the grain, heating it up, therefore allowing us to be able to then alter the orientation of the media. In other words, writing to it, right? Now then when you actually read it, right, well, because the magnetic particles are so tiny and are so closely packed together, right, we have to have a technology to really make sure that right, you're able to really very, very precisely read the spot where you're supposed to be reading and not have a lot of movement around it. So all of this has to come together, right, for HAMR technology, which is what Mozaic 3 is all about, to work. And then controlling all of these things is also super critical. And that's why we have in-house, we've developed a third generation of SoC to really manage and control the workings of all these three things that I've just talked about.
Okay, so as I understand it, so that's the superlattice platinum alloy media,
yes,
the Plasmonic Writer, and I think Gen 7 Spintronic Reader. And
correct.
I think lastly, sorry, I'll just go through this, the 12 nanometer integrated controller. So of those, what, if you're able to say, what was the most challenging aspect? I mean, are these already existing technologies that you've refined, or how much is groundbreaking? Just thoughts as to what were the specific challenges that you had to overcome with each or any of those?
They're all extremely challenging, Philip, and of course, right, I would say that, but I think that the newest introduction is really the photonic technology in the writer, the Plasmonic Writer, because it's something which is new and never done before in the disk drive industry. Because in the past, yes, sure, we can make the read-write heads more and more precise, which we have been doing. We're making the media, with higher and higher cohesivity, right? We've been doing that as well. But putting laser on the head itself, right? Attaching it to the head and really, shooting the laser beam creates, different challenges and different complexities which we have to address in the last, 10 plus years of really addressing this. So I would say that, yeah, that itself is a phenomenal challenge.
And in terms of, I think at the top, you sort of alluded to something, but it'd be good to understand the particular pain points this will address, stroke the benefits, obviously, that you will be providing to customers compared to previous generations, or what they might be using at the current time.
Well, I think, just the usual challenges, right? I mean, obviously power, heat, precision, reliability, all of those have to really be addressed to, for us to, obviously, when you actually introduce different temperature, to the media, right? It creates different complexities as well. So it's hard to just say that, well, hey, these three things, are the most critical or whatever. I think, every single component has to be lined up, right? For this to really be able to function and operate precisely, which is why, right? This is such a difficult technology. And again, back to what I said earlier, why I regard it as an inflection point in the industry, because it truly is, quite an incredible technology.
And in terms of the sustainability angle, was that a sort of important objective for you, or is it a sort of bonus, shall we say, to what you've done, or was it part, it was very much part of what you wanted to design, bearing in mind, the industry is under pressure to reduce its carbon footprint?
Yes, I mean, sustainability, is always there, and one of the corporate initiatives for us as well. And obviously, when we design a new technology or a new disk drive, we have that in mind to see how we best, can produce a product, right, and invent and produce a product that really, provides well, first of all, reduce carbon emissions, right? And that's through the manufacturing process all the way through to the usage of the product itself.
And in terms of the reaction that you've had so far, I guess it's early days, but I imagine you were potentially testing with some customers, and now it's there. Just what sort of feedback have you had from customers to date?
I would say that the feedback has been extremely encouraging, right? And probably, getting more encouraging by the day. The HAMR technology, which is what Mozaic 3 is based on, is not new in terms of, what the technology that's being discussed. It's been around for more than 10 years, and we've been working on it as well. I think, what is different now, versus what it was before, is that our customers and the market in general are now realizing that it is not a technology for tomorrow. It is tomorrow's technology that's here today and now. And that gives them a lot of excitement, and they see the potential. They see the potential for them to really be able to address the issue of their scale. They see the potential of this being able to address their TCO issues and also helping the sustainability as well. So yeah, we've had a really, really very encouraging response and feedback from our customers.
And in terms of, apologies if this is a stupid question, but I'm just interested as to whether this development changes where the hard disk drives play compared to solid state. Does it move anything at all, or do they still serve fairly different applications, therefore don't meet in the middle, or does this change things at all?
No, basically a Mozaic 3 drive acts and operates exactly like any other disk drive. So from an architecture, technology, positioning perspective, and whether it's up and down the stack, no difference at all. But what it does do is, because it offers the advantages and all that, so I think it just gives a lot more flexibility to the architects, right? To really figure out what they can actually do, with the storage layers that they put together.
And just more generally, before we finish, I mean, everyone's talking about AI at the moment, and depending on who you listen to, just how big the impact will be. I'm just interested as to what you think the impact might be on the storage industry. I mean, in the sense you're just storing more and more data, it doesn't have an impact, or do you think it will require you to? Obviously, you're launching something today which is improving, if you like, the capacity. But do you think you're going to be under pressure to have to move up another level for AI storage, if you like, or is it just more of the same?
Oh no, absolutely. I think there's a couple of things that as they say, right? There's two truths in life, right? There's death and taxes, right? And I think bringing it to our world, there's one truth, and that storage demand will continue to grow, right? I think the question is, how much will it grow? And I think with AI, it actually will accelerate. Now, we had IDC has done lots of research in this area, and IDC is just saying that data generation, right, is growing at a rate of close to 30% a year, right? And every 4 to 5 years, the amount of data that's generated doubles. Now, this was actually done pre-Gen AI. Right, so now obviously they're going to be refreshing that, and and multiple studies have shown, have pointed to the fact that the growth in storage demand certainly would really increase as AI becomes more commonplace from an application perspective. Now, it's also important to also know that with the Gen AI today, the bulk of the applications are in what we call structured data, which is mainly text. Now, if you then look at all of the data in the world today, that portion of data is only 20% of all data. 80% of all data is actually unstructured videos, images, and all of that. Now, there's lots of AI applications that are moving more towards image and video and all of that. So if you think about it, right, if you just extrapolate, well, okay, if we're using AI on structured data, which is 20% of all data, and then we're moving to have AI on unstructured data, where I would argue that the value of AI in unstructured data is immensely more than unstructured data, right? Then I think I think one can just imagine what it'll do to the storage demand.
Okay, but bearing in mind what we've talked about, and obviously we're talking about a significant launch, just be good to understand what's on the Seagate roadmap for the rest of the year, and maybe a bit further. Anything you can share with us as to what type of things you look at, whether it's developing the company itself or any sort of technologies we should be looking out for?
Yeah, we're very excited. We've announced it. We're working with customers on major cloud service providers to get our product qualified, and we're still on track to ship 1 million of these drives by middle of this year. So basically, we're talking about really going to scale and ramp. Our next challenge, one is to really broaden the HAMR or Mozaic 3 technology across all applications, and not just the cloud service providers as well. And that's in a roadmap in the next 1 to 3 years as well. So The first launch of Mozaic 3 drives will be at the highest capacity drive, which is the 30 plus terabyte drive based on a 3 terabyte platform. The next phase of the launch is that, we can actually produce, say, a 20 terabyte drive with fewer disks and heads, simply because the areal density is a lot higher than what it was, right? And therefore lowering costs, lowering power requirements and all of that. So that's the next stage in the roadmap. We're also having our systems business where we have JBots, where we've got an appliance where it's a self-healing appliance where the drives basically heal itself, and it's a technology what we call regen. So we've started shipping those products with Mozaic 3 drives inside, giving additional capacity to our customers. So 2024 will be an extremely pivotal and challenging year for us, but also a very exciting one because it's the year where we will finally see the ramp of volume production of our Mozaic 3 drives.
Okay, it's been great to chat and some lovely insights as to what's going on at Seagate. So really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Philip.